He's like, well, what are you doing this weekend? I said, I don't know. He's like, you're going to New York City. I'm like, why? He's like, you're going to fill in on Good Morning America. I'm like, what?
Oh my God. Life can change in like that quick of a moment based on something that you never thought would affect your career.
You can cry in your car on the way to work and you can cry in your car on the way home, but there is a level of professionalism that needs to be maintained.
What is the hardest thing this profession has thrown at you so far?
Divorce. Have I cried on the air? Yes. Someone asked me what color my underwear were. I was just like, white. I mean, and my boss was like, why would you answer that question? I'm like, am I fired? She's like, no, but that was dumb. I'm like, I know, but I was honest.
For 2 decades, I've helped brands earn credibility through PR. Now I'm turning the mic on the storytellers themselves. I'm Melissa DiGianfilippo, founder and CEO of Proof Publicity, and this is Off Deadline, the real stories of reporters, hosts, and media insiders beyond the byline. Welcome to Off Deadline. I'm Melissa DiGianfilippo, and my guest today is Kaley O'Kelley. Welcome, Kaley.
Hi, this is so cool.
I'm so glad to have you here with us.
I am so happy to be here.
Kaley O'Kelley is a 7-time Emmy Award-winning journalist and co-anchor of ABC 15 Mornings in Phoenix. With nearly 30 years on the job, Kaley is a familiar face locally and nationally. She's appeared on Good Morning America Weekend, The Weather Channel, and even co-hosted The Talk in Los Angeles. Over her career, Kaley has anchored and reported from Yuma and San Diego to Dallas, Fort Worth, and here in the Valley, she became a trusted voice on Good Morning Arizona. Now back at ABC 15, she continues to connect with her community while raising 2 kids and cheering them on from the sidelines. So your kids are athletes.
You know what? They are. My daughter plays volleyball and my son plays tackle football.
Oh, wow.
And we are at it every single weekend. In fact, tonight, which is, a weeknight, we'll be at volleyball and my son will be, it's just, yeah. It is what it is. I love it.
I get it. I have 2 competitive cheerleaders.
Okay, so you know.
Our life is busy, but I wouldn't trade it.
I love it. This is the best job I've ever had as a mom. Like, I love it.
Totally agree.
And you don't know when you're going through. I thought that, and I'm totally transparent. I figured having kids might actually like slow down my career and it might kind of kill my career. And I feel like it's made what we get to do for a living better.
It's accelerated. For me, when I had kids, I had my own business and I was like, this is great. I have flexibility. I can stay home with them. It's actually funny when you do your own thing or like you're really self-motivated because you work a million times harder, but also the flexibility and like what you build into your career is critical, I think, for that time with kids.
And if you work for the right people, they'll let you bring your kids along.
Correct.
Which I love that.
Correct. Well, we're going to dive into all that today. Okay. What I want to do first is start with your backstory. Did you know broadcasting was always in your blood? What did you go to school for? How did you get your start?
So, oh gosh, how far back do you want to go? Because as you said, 30 years. I'm like, what? It has been almost 30 years. That's crazy. I knew that I wanted to be a journalist when I was in the 8th grade. I had a friend con me into running for ASB president. And I was in the 8th grade at that time. And I remember my mom and also a teacher saying, you know what, you're a great storyteller. You should be a journalist. I actually thought, I'm going to be a psychiatrist. I'm going to go to Harvard. That's what I thought I would do.
Oh, I love that.
And eventually I started just writing for our school paper in college, all of these things. And I thought, this is kind of cool. And the main reason why I decided to get into it was in the 8th grade, we had the main news anchor from Channel 5 in Seattle come to our small little town. I grew up in a small town called East Wenatchee, Washington. Okay. And I got to interview her as student body president. And I asked her what, her favorite thing was about her job. And she said, I get to leave it behind me at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. So I don't have to really take home things that are, crippling me emotionally. I get to take it, to the edge. Into the night, I go home and I go to sleep. Now, it's not like that anymore.
I was just wondering, I don't think that's, it's a 24/7 job.
And then some, right? And considering all of the stories that we've been covering lately, in fact, we had a meeting today at the station about the emotional toll that it does take on us as journalists and as producers, and we just need to check in on each other.
Yeah. But you knew early, so I assume when you did that interview, you probably had some natural skills or someone say to you, like, you're good at this.
I just had fun with it, right?
Yeah.
In the 10th grade, I did a report on Oprah Winfrey. And
so cool. You reported on her. Sorry, you didn't interview her. It would have been
very cool to interview her.
I know.
Right? It would have been sick. But I remember reading about her, and she talked about all kinds of things, and that she had all these producers, but that it was important for her to be the person who did these interviews. And that really was impressive to me. I thought, wow, so you do all of this and then some, which is exactly why she, did such a great job coming up through the ranks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Really cool.
And I have to hear about your first job because I've heard from a few broadcasters, like Jamie Surratt is a good example, when telling me the things that we don't get to hear about behind the scenes. I mean, first of all, you don't make very much money at first, maybe for a while. Also, the hours are crazy. Small markets start. Like, tell me your first job.
First job, you mean like first job ever? I worked at a public access station, actually. I was 17 years old, but I wanted to learn the ropes. I was living in Los Angeles. I moved there to do a little teen talk show, free. Yep. And so I asked if I could volunteer behind the scenes so that I could work at other public access, like, productions. And it was thankless, but it was completely awesome. And then for the little show that I have, I should say, it was called Youth Beat. And I had a little plastic tree that I put in my beat down RX-7, and the little leaves would hit me in the face, all the way to the studio. I mean, it was horrifying, but I learned a lot. Out of college, I went to Pepperdine. I got a job, luckily, in Yuma at KYMA, and it was one of the only small stations in the country that had live capabilities. So I was able to do live shots, and I would work doubles almost every day so that I could learn how not to be as nervous on air. And our producer and weathercaster, because you do a million different jobs there, she quit one day. And so I remember the news director came out and said, all right, Holly's gone, so who's up next? And I'm hiding under my desk. I'd rather be the weekend producer than do weather. And he's like, O'Kelley, you're up. So, yeah.
There you go. That was it. Oh,
I loved that job.
Yeah. You probably got to do all of it.
All of it. And, fell flat on my face. And it was a great learning experience. Yeah.
Good.
All that stuff shapes you.
It totally does. It's so cheesy, but you really don't fail ever. You just learn.
Yeah.
And I appreciate so many of my failures that I now can look back and say, thank God that happened.
Right.
Honestly.
And we can share that. I'm calling it wisdom now. We can share that wisdom with young people. Yes. I think it's important with legacy. You have to pass that on.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, totally. Okay. Now we're going to go into some of the specific things that have happened maybe on the job and off the job that have shaped you. Which routine assignment turned into a career-defining moment for you?
Ooh. So when I came to Phoenix, I was sending out resume reels, right? I was like, oh, okay. I was living in Santa Barbara. I wanted to do some freelance work in a bigger market. And so I sent Bob Sullivan, who was my first news director here. Do you know him?
Yeah.
He's so amazing.
Yeah.
I sent him a tape, I guess, back then. And he called me immediately and he said, are you a meteorologist? I said, no. And he's like, well, would you be interested in coming to Phoenix, Arizona? And I said, yes, I would. So he flew me out, which I was surprised that I didn't have to drive out here, which that felt like big time to me. And then I studied through Mississippi State, got my meteorology degree, which was super amazing. Never in a million years did I think I would have an opportunity to work at Good Morning America.
No joke. When I saw that on your resume, I was like,
it was insane. It was insane. Now, when I tell you I'm from a small town, I mean it. I mean, it wasn't like a two-bit town. There were a few, traffic lights and things like that. But I had never been to New York City. I had no idea what to expect. So he calls me into his office one Friday. I was actually buying shoes to go on a date. Mm-hmm. This is forever ago, 2004.
Okay.
He called me back to work, and I thought, oh my gosh, I'm in trouble. And I was racking my brain, what did I do? What did I do? Couldn't figure it out. So I walk in his office, and he's like, have you ever been to New York City? I'm like, is this a joke? Is this what's happening? No, I've never been to New York City. He's like, well, what are you doing this weekend? I'm like, this weekend? He's like, yeah, tomorrow. So I guess this was a Thursday. I said, I don't know. He's like, you're going to New York City. I'm like, why? He's like, you're going to fill in on Good Morning America. I'm like, what?
Oh my God.
I was freaking out.
That moment.
It was insane. And it ended up I was so scared. When I went on, I was so happy that my sweat wasn't coming through my suit. But it ended up being a confidence building moment, number one. I just had fun with it. And I got to fill in regularly for years. And it made me realize, whether you're in New York City or Yuma, Arizona, it's all the same, And
it's you. Like, that's the other cool thing. Like, you got to go somewhere else and fill in a big national show, but like, they picked you. That must have felt good.
It was insane. But I'll tell you what, it doesn't matter where you are. You don't know when the opportunity is going to come, but you have to be ready for it. Here's why it happened. The executive producer of Good Morning America Weekend, his mother lives here.
So she watched you on TV
Every
and
morning.
she loved you.
She loved my suits. She said, I love her suits.
See, you never know.
And that is how it happened. It had nothing to do with talent. It had everything to do with, oh, I watched this girl in the morning at ABC 15. She does the weather. That is how that happened.
I love that you shared that, because it would be so easy for you not to say that. And people be like, you are a great reporter.
Oh, you're
But
sweet.
like, honestly, just to know that life can change in like that quick of a moment based on something that you never thought would affect your career.
Well,
you know?
and here's the other thing. I answered her emails.
Yeah.
I didn't know that she was like the oracle of ABC News, right? I'm serious. And we're still friends to this day.
Yeah.
So you just never know.
Oh, I love that. That's great. What is the hardest thing this profession has thrown at you so far?
Divorce.
Okay, so tell
Twice.
me why. Yeah.
Yeah. I never used to be able to talk about it. Like I always wanted to hide that first marriage, right? It's a demanding job, number one. And when you are coming up, you feel like you can't say no.
Yes.
And I had a shift that shifted everywhere when I was in Santa Barbara. And I think even 10 years ago, I wouldn't have been able to claim some of the responsibility. Oh, it's his fault.
Yeah.
And we're friends now. So it was hard. And I remember him saying, he wanted the kitchen stirring when he came home from work. He wanted a homemaker. And I was just never going to be that. And there was so much shame associated with that because, I don't ever want to, quote, fail. And to me, it felt like failure. My parents have been married, I think, almost 60 years.
Wow.
My sister's been married, 35 years. And so it did feel, like I lost. And I did lose. But there was a lot of just shame.
Yeah.
And then I went through, my second divorce in Texas, that was really, really, really hard because, we have kids.
Yeah.
But, therapy can do wonders, and self-forgiveness is really big. EMDR therapy has changed my life.
Yeah.
And he and I feel like we co-parent really well now. And we're lucky. Our kids get to see us get along, and we would have been horrible parents living under the same roof.
Yeah.
And, we struggle sometimes.
Everyone. I can relate to that. It's hard.
It's hard.
It's hard to go on you have a different job because your face is on camera. So if you have a hard night or a hard morning, what does that next day look like after, you're getting a divorce? You make that decision and you go to work the next day.
Hard.
What does that feel like?
So, and I don't know how I managed to do this. I'll tell you, I was up till midnight last night. I had to get up at 2:30 this morning, only because I went to a concert. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
it was a choice.
It was a choice. And there's something that happens, and I don't know if it's just the way I was brought up or what, but I learned from a very young age. My mom is a business owner. My dad, a business owner. And I believe they taught me at a very young age to leave my stuff at the door.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're leading a team, it's kind of like being a quarterback, right? You have got to flip that switch and turn it on. And you can cry in your car on the way to work, and you can cry in your car on the way home. But there is a level of professionalism that needs to be maintained.
Yeah.
And I don't know how I've done it. I remember my mom and dad would watch me when I first came back from Dallas. And I had flight. I got called to emergency court hearing one night. And then, I'm in court, and then I'm racing to get to work. I don't know how I did it. I'm a Christian, and, it's that poem, Footprints.
Yep.
My mom had that on my sister as our bathroom wall when we were kids. And I think that that's really what helped get me through, my faith in God.
Yeah.
And really good makeup.
Yeah.
And fake eyelashes.
And like you said, the ethic too. It's like your parents just were like, this is what we do. And that is something you articulated it so well, because I never want I have two girls, and I work really hard, and I'm a single mom too, but with a co-parenting well with a very involved ex. But like, I want my kids to see that I work really hard. I don't want them to say it's all I do, but I want to instill in them a lot of these values and things like that. And it's a weird balance of like, you want your kids to see the hard things and go through the hard things. And then you do, it's
true.
It's hard.
It is hard, but it's so important for them to see, number one, that you can say sorry and mean it. And I had someone tell me once, and this was at the height of ickiness. And I know if he was sitting here, he would completely agree with me. We had a come to Jesus moment. And I said, you know what? Every single time I say something bad about you, I have to shoot through the heart of one of our kids. And we get emotional. You're allowed.
That's a real feeling.
And I don't want to do that.
No.
And so, he got down on his knees. He's like, I'm really sorry.
Oh, that's a great moment, though, honestly,
I still don't like him sometimes.
Of course not. I mean, they're not married, clearly. And thank you for sharing that, because I appreciate vulnerability, because it does show people we can all look together on a pretty package and look on Instagram like life is great. And there's really hard moments in between. And it's honestly to hear from someone like you who's on TV every day that you have gone through this too, and you pick yourself up and you keep going and you've learned a lot. That's really important for someone to hear today.
Well, if it could help just one person, right? We're supposed to, and this is Robin Roberts. These are her words, but I think it's really important to make your message, whatever it is, because you're right. Social media makes life look so pretty and so perfect, and it's not. It's all messy. Yeah. And if we were all just honest about it, I think that life could get easier, because how many times, I'll just tell you, for me on a Saturday night, I'm scrolling through, that looks like fun. Nobody invited me. Oh, that looks, oh, look at her hair. Oh, she looks great.
Yep.
Man, she has time to go to the gym.
Do I need new clothes right now? Do I need
Seriously.
What do I need that? Where do, yeah.
And we wouldn't, the negative self-talk that happens, right? We would never talk to our friends like that. It sucks.
Never, I know.
We have to change that state and that frame of mind and remind each other that everything's going to be okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
And teach our kids that.
Yeah, as a great reminder. What's the most inspiring story that you've been able to tell so far?
Oh my gosh. This is such a cool story, and I'm still in the midst of telling it. It's a story about an organization that makes beds for kids who don't have beds. And the organization is called Sleep in Heavenly Peace. Kind of stumbled upon them through a friend of a friend. And when I called Joe Genovese, who operates the Phoenix chapter, I don't think either one of us realized how big this was going to be. He and just a few of his friends were operating out of a little shed here, in the Tempe area, and just north of the airport. So we do this story. We talk about, I think at that time there were 2,500 kids who had signed up for beds. 2,500 kids in the Valley. That number has climbed to, I think, almost 7,000.
Kids who need beds. And I guarantee that doesn't even scratch the surface.
It doesn't. It does not scratch at all near the surface. And so I did a story. I interviewed him, and they showed me how they make these beds, and they're bunk beds. And he showed me the logs of all these people who were signing up, asking for beds for their kids. Well, at the end of the story, I said, look, Joe could really use your help. Oh my gosh. So many volunteers showed up.
Oh.
Somebody donated a warehouse, okay? The guys they're all retired. They got together. Now they're all buds. They built this whole system inside this warehouse, and now they're making hundreds of beds for these kids. And in about a month or so, and I'm so excited, they will have built, I believe, their 10,000th bed.
Wow.
I know. So to me, that's why local journalism matters, right?
Yes.
And I love getting to feature community heroes because, so much of the news is bad. Yes. But when we can give hope, and this is what we focus on at ABC 15, of course we have to talk about the bad news, but hope is a huge part of our broadcast. It's something that when I first got here, I'm like, we got to do more stories of hope. They're like, okay. And this is one of the stories we have. Community heroes, there are angels among us. And to me, if we can share those stories and we could show these kids who are getting their own bed with bedding and a stuffed animal. I've been on deliveries. These lives, our lives changed.
What a great, and you get to decide yes or no to that story, and you get to find that sometimes and be the one to bring that to life. What a cool feeling that is.
Well, it's my favorite thing that I get to do.
Yeah.
At work.
And change the trajectory of that nonprofit, right? Like you said, they did 2,500, now they're doing 10,000. Or I mean, to get the help and the support, like that's because you propelled the story.
Well, that's sweet. I think we all work together. You know, I don't think there are ever any accidents, and I don't ever want to take any responsibility for that. And I'll just say, thank God.
But just saying yes.
Thank you, God.
Yeah. Have you witnessed something on the job that was difficult to process emotionally?
Every single day, it feels like recently. Have I cried on the air? Yes. That we have very human moments. And what's interesting is they don't teach you that in journalism school. Mm-hmm. So, when kids get hurt, when kids die at the hands of adults, which is so crazy to me, it's infuriating.
Yeah.
Because these are kids who deserve a voice, who don't, they didn't have one. So yeah, those are really, really, really tough stories to share. But we talked about, motherhood. I think motherhood changes the way you tell stories because, you look at life through a totally different lens. And we're talking to moms, right?
Yeah.
We're talking to dads. We're talking to people, everyday people. And that is the core of who we are. We have to remember that in our storytelling, the humanity of it.
Absolutely. It does give you a whole different lens, though, the minute that you have a kid that you're responsible for. And you
just want to keep it alive.
You just want to keep it alive. And it's just, and the news does feel really bad sometimes. So I really appreciate when you can bring the positives, because you do have to tell the hard stuff, because we need to know.
Yes.
Right? We need to give someone justice or share someone's story or know what to watch out for.
Yeah.
And so that's critical. But also, like, when you can turn it around, and even when you can be vulnerable in those moments, that probably makes the person watching on the other end of the screen, like, feel differently about what you're saying, truly, so.
Yeah. There's that, it's so interesting because, especially in the world of politics, I'll just bring it up.
Yeah.
Because I figure we're going there.
Well, yeah. It's just very.
It's so divisive. And that sucks too.
It does, yeah.
But we have to tell those stories. And I am an independent, and I grew up that way.
Yeah.
So I do in some ways feel very lucky to be able to tell some of those stories through that lens, so to speak. Mm-hmm. But that's really not easy.
No.
You know what I mean? Because everybody guesses that you're one way or the other. And I always find it very interesting and sometimes funny of some of the things I get accused of being.
Yeah.
Because
you're like, I'm not, but okay, thanks.
Couldn't be farther from the truth.
Yeah.
So I typically, like, when those emails come in, sometimes people are actually pretty kind about it here. But when they do come in, I find it really interesting. Like, oh, okay, I feel like I'm doing my job if they're, guessing that I believe one thing or the other. Exactly.
And for you to be able to remain unbiased through all of that, obviously that's part of your job, but people do not understand that. They do not understand, I think, like that that is literally in your job description.
Yes. However, there are some words, because, people are human, and we do have writers. There are some words, and I, part of my job is mentoring younger journalists. The word truly the word but, these words can be highly political. So we don't need those in our scripts. Mm-mm. And that's why it's really important to know the subject matter and also to know the market. And because we can bring value to the market by talking with our writers to remind them, look, this story may have happened, but here's the history of that.
Yeah.
And sometimes, there are producers who are going, really, O'Kelley? Like, this is fast. I'm like, this is why this matters,
That's funny. Yeah. So. No, I appreciate that. When did your most important work happen behind the scenes in ways the audience will never know?
Oh, that's a really good question. Wow. Well, I call him my sandpaper now. And it was a former boss at a TV station. And I was offered a long-term opportunity at a network. And he told them no.
For you?
Never even told me. Mm. And it was someone at the network who told me that they turned down an opportunity for me. And, of course, I was devastated. Mm-hmm. And I don't like the word hate, but I will say in my heart for many years, I was very angry at this person. I didn't understand why? Why would you do that? Why? And I literally obsessed over it for a very long time. And I carried it with me. And through the years, I've learned a lot about forgiveness. Thank you, therapy. And I realized that the only person that was hurting was me. And I also realized that I would never have had my children had I been able to take that opportunity.
Yeah.
And it was at a time, this was in, like 07-ish, right before the bottom fell out. So it ended up being a huge blessing because it, was like the last to be hired was the first to be fired.
Of course.
And I ended up being able to have a full circle moment with that person. And he reached out to me, called him, and I said, I have to do this for me, but I forgive you. And he said, Kaley, thank you.
Wow.
And so I consider him a friend. I call him my sandpaper in life because he shaped me. And, it's like, sometimes there are those moments, thank God for unanswered prayers, right?
Yeah.
Because I am so grateful for where I am today. I am right where I want to be. I so wanted to be back here at home at ABC 15, working with the people I don't feel like I have to work there. I get to work there every single day. And it is a very grueling and demanding job, but there's no place I'd rather be.
That's great. Thank you.
He did that.
Yeah. And you turned that real negative feeling into something that you can now see as a blessing, which
It took some time.
That's hard to do.
Yeah.
What hidden talent or interest would surprise people who only know your work?
Oh my gosh. I swallowed my tongue once and I can actually make a really weird sound.
Can you do it right now?
Yeah,
Do
I
it.
think. Very
It's like a
weird. I don't know
pig.
why. Yeah, I know. Isn't that hilarious? So I did. I was a baby.
So funny.
And I guess I was like, I guess that this part at the bottom.
Yeah.
There's probably a biological
Yeah,
term
there
for it,
probably is.
but
yeah.
I don't think it was fully attached. And my sister saved my life. So
Oh my
I know
God.
that's so random. But yeah.
I mean, that's
I
really,
would call that a talent for sure.
that's a very unique, under the radar.
like,
when
where's
are you
she
going to pull
going
that out?
with this?
How many cocktails does it take to get you to pull that out at a dinner party?
Clearly I've not had any cocktails, so I didn't need a cocktail.
Okay, good. So now we're into rapid fire. Okay, so I have 5 questions for you. Your job is to say the first thing that comes to mind.
Uh-oh.
Okay?
Careful.
Yep. What's the moment you thought, welp, never living this down?
Oh, I did a radio show when I was in Santa Barbara, and someone asked me what color my underwear were. I was just like, white. I mean, and my boss was like, why would you answer that question? I'm like, am I fired? She's like, no, but that was dumb. I'm like, I know. I was honest.
I mean, I guess in that moment, I'm assuming you were young, you're like, what am I supposed to do?
I was in my early 20s.
Yeah,
I mean, she let me go on there. I'm like,
yeah, prepare me better. How about that?
It was totally my fault. But yeah, it was weird.
What's on your bucket list that might surprise people?
I want to bungee jump someday is it New Zealand?
Yep.
That's,
I've been there. I didn't bungee jump, but a boyfriend at the time did. And they put a trash can over his head. He did this crazy thing. It's like the biggest, it's in Queenstown.
Okay.
The longest bungee jump ever. At the time, at least. I went 20 years ago.
Wait, why did they put a trash
Well, that's
can?
one of the options. If you want to be crazy, they totally blindfold, you can't see anything. And then they push you.
He did that.
Mm-hmm. He was crazy. I mean, clearly.
Clearly.
Yeah.
But it's amazing that he did it.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know. I want to see that video when you do that.
Okay.
Please. Okay.
I've been skydiving,
Oh, then this is easy for
perfectly, good airplane, jumped out of it. Eloy, it was all good.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm a little bit of a daredevil.
Yeah, I cannot. That's impressive. Okay. What's your newsroom nickname, or what should it be?
Oh. Well, everybody just calls me O'Kelley.
It's a great one.
It's that's it. I mean, it's just, I used to be called Accountable Kaley, but I don't think I'm like that person anymore. I mean, you have kids. It's like, that's annoying.
Yeah. You're like, no, we're not going there. Okay.
No. You evolve, right?
You totally,
Yeah.
you grow up. You have to.
Well,
You know?
and life happens and work is part of your life, but it's not your entire life.
No, not anymore. Your secret journalistic superpower.
Oh, I usually don't share this, but I will.
Ooh.
Human condition.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me a little bit more.
So, and this comes from my weather background. When you're describing something, like when we open the show, it's like, hey, So, you might want to throw like ice cubes in your coffee this morning, or it's anything that will evoke an emotion, right? And people don't understand why maybe, it makes them feel, cozy, or, oh gosh, yeah, man, apple cider sounds really good. It's chilly this morning. They're just like little things that I think can really set the tone for the morning, because it is a psychology thing. When you are, waking people up, and we talk about this when we have consultants come in, or we have in the past.
Yeah.
There are little moments that you can create where maybe I can, like when I worked with Scott Passmore.
Yeah.
For me, it was so much fun to nudge him. Or I would find all these little fun, funky stories that we could put in our rundown that at least he loves motorcycles.
Oh, yeah. He loves cars, all of it. Yep.
I would find these stories to
Yeah.
rev him up. I work on it's a different format at ABC 15, and that was a different time in news.
Totally,
right?
yeah.
But there are just little things that you can do to poke your partner to make it a little more fun, a little more interesting. And I don't like for them to know, because then there's no fresh reaction.
Totally.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Also, it changes your dynamic probably on air.
Yes.
Which feels great.
Yeah. Well, like it can take kind of look, we're human. We all come in with something, right? And if someone's going through something, that's why it's really important to have a friendship off air.
Yes.
If someone's going through something, you can, nudge them a little bit, or, maybe do something that brings back a memory, or play a little music or something, just to change the trajectory of the day.
Yeah, totally.
Because people feel it.
Oh, of course. If you weren't a journalist, you would be
Teacher.
Oh, interesting. What
In fact,
kind?
that's what I want to do when I grow up.
Oh, I
Yeah, I
love
want
that.
to teach English or journalism. My mom is in education, and my mom is also, I have foster siblings. And so what does that tell you? Like they never my parents never adopted. They never went through the state, but they just ended up being this house where kids would land. Unfortunately, some kids have a hard time. Parents have a hard time.
Yeah.
And so you can do a lot, I believe, through education by helping kids. And I think that we could use more educators. We're lucky to have the teachers that we do have, but kids need a safe landing, and especially right now.
Yeah.
And so when I get all grown up, that's what I want to be.
I love it. Thank you so much for spending the time with me today,
thank you
Kaley.
for
This was
having
a
me.
pleasure.
The pleasure's mine. This is great. I love what you're doing here.
Thank
you for bringing the humanity to this, because I think so often people watch the news and they it's really easy to see just, maybe what might appear to be a robot telling the news. But there is a real human side to this. And I just appreciate you sharing this side of it. It's awesome.
Well, thank you for going there.